All right, perfect. Welcome, everyone. We have a pretty good group today, pretty good size, and we anticipate a much larger size as we move forward. So please feel free to introduce yourself in the chat, say hello, let us know your organization, tell us about what your role is and where your organization's located. Um, Today, we are talking about Marketing Toolkit 101. A little note for you that you will be on mute the entire time. If you have questions, you can drop them in the chat. If you need closed captioning, we do have that available. And this is being recorded and will be sent out tomorrow, along with all of the links and resources that you need that we cover. So some of you registered with the knowledge that Dre Harris of Do Less Consulting would be hosting this training today, but I'm clearly not Dre, and he can't be with us today. But I am Angela Palmer, the Director of Events and Marketing here at the Alliance. And the Alliance is the organization that actually facilitates Arizona Gives Day. So I promise I am extremely familiar with Arizona Gives and the toolkit, both from the perspective of the Alliance and Arizona Gives Day folks, but also as a former marketing manager for nonprofits throughout Arizona. So I have both helped administer the program and I have also administered campaigns for the program. So I promise today you are in good hands. Don't be too confused. Everything will be fine. That is our motto, right? Everything will be fine. So to start, I do have a few polls because I do want to get to know the people who are in the room with us today. So the first thing I want to know is, has your organization participated in Arizona Gives previously? So let me know. Yes, no, maybe you don't know because you're new to your organization. That's okay too. I won't judge you, I promise. All right, we are going to end this. So it looks like we have mostly yeses and some nos. Welcome to the new people, and then welcome back to the people who've already done this before. You probably have already had successful campaigns. I'm hoping I don't teach you anything that you don't already know, but maybe you can contribute something fabulous in the chat if you know of something better that I should be sharing with you. All right, our next question is, have you downloaded the AZ Gives Toolkit? So your options are, of course, no, but I'm planning on it, and what is the AZ Gives Toolkit? Also, no judgment for people who don't know what that thing is, or maybe your answer is no, and you're just not going to, and so you might abstain from this, but we won't judge you either way. So let's see. All right, we're getting, here we go. All right, so we have a mix. I'm so excited. We have a few of courses. We have some no's, but I'm planning on it. And also, what is the AZ Gives Toolkit? So good thing I will be going over that shortly. All right, and my last question for today is, would you be interested in receiving the native files for the toolkit resources? So your answers are yes, and what are native files? And it is okay if you do not know what native files are. I will talk about that also shortly. All right. This is also helping me know where people are at in their ability to do different kinds of digital and Illustrator things. So this is helpful for me. All right, we're gonna end this poll. We're gonna share. Looks like most people don't know what native files are. And you know what? That's totally awesome and fine. A lot of people don't, and we're gonna talk about it here in a minute. So, all right, let me close that window. And let's talk a little bit about what we're gonna do today. So this training is the Marketing Toolkit 101 version. So it's mostly meant for those small organizations. You might not have a dedicated marketing person on your staff. And of course, if you do, you are more than welcome to stay. You're more than welcome to ask questions. But I do want you to know that on Wednesday, we will be hosting a Marketing Toolkit 201, which will be a little bit more advanced. So that'll include some more advanced Illustrator or design concepts. We'll go a little bit deeper into strategy. Today, we're just going to touch on strategy, and we're going to talk more about things that you can do in like a Photoshop or an InDesign. Versus today, we're going to talk about different free tools you can use and how to use the items that already exist in the toolkit to your benefit versus creating your own ads. So like I said, regardless of where you're at, you're more than welcome to attend today. You're also more than welcome to attend Wednesday. There's always something that you can glean regardless of where your organization is at. Now, before we get started, I do want to give a caveat that I kind of live in a zoo and I do have 4 animals. So if you hear barking or like the other day, if you see a random cat leap across the screen in front of my face, please bear with me. I promise I'm paying attention. And if I'm looking to the side, it's just so that I can look at my notes and I am making sure that I am giving you all the information. Maybe you'll like it if a cat jumps in front of me. So that'll be exciting, something new for people to look at. Okay, so today we're going to be going over what the toolkit is, how to get it, how to request those native files should you decide that you want them and what they are, and how to use the resources in a basic way to support your organization's Arizona Gives campaign. So this is going to be a super informative session. We're going to be moving really fast because we only have an hour to cover everything. I encourage you to follow along using your own imagery if you have the ability to do that today. If you do not, as Karina stated, this is being recorded. We will be sending this out tomorrow, so you can follow along while doing these things on your own after this. For questions, if they're relevant to the exact thing that I'm going to be talking about, Karina and Maria are going to interrupt me and ask those questions. However, I'm hoping that we will have time at the end to cover more questions in depth. If we do not, Maria and Karina, feel free to put my email or the marketing email into that chat box so people can ask us questions that way if we don't have time to get their questions answered. Okay, everyone ready? All right, we're going to go quick. It's going to be fast, so bear with me. Let me share my screen. Wait, let me get my right screen up. That's always the key. Okay. Share. Here we go. All right. Can you see my web browser? Great. Thanks, Maria. I can see your nods. Thank you. Okay, so how to find the toolkit. So to access the toolkit, you do have to be logged in to your Arizona Gives Day account. And my account's going to look a little bit different from what your account is because I'm an admin. However, under mine, if I click view more, I can click the toolkit button, and your dashboard along the top, you will have a toolkit button as well. And if you scroll down to where it says nonprofit toolkit, you'll see that you can download your Arizona Gives toolkit now. So we're going to click that link in 1 second. But I am going to say also in this area, this is where you can join the private Facebook group. This is probably one of the best ways to reach the Alliance staff if you have a question quickly. I'm the one who tends to be monitoring that, so I can answer anything that pops up in there pretty quick, but you do have to request access, and you have to let us know what organization you are a part of to get access to that. Additionally, this is where if you are in need of native files, you can email us for that thing. So native files, for those of you who don't know, are the design files that have everything, pardon me, everything broken down into its different parts. So the main marketing toolkit really just has JPEGs of everything lumped together that can't be moved, or PDFs of that. Versus the native files, you could literally pick and choose portions of each image, but you would need the Adobe products to be able to do that thing. So that's going to be something for those more advanced or bigger organizations that have access to those Adobe products that can make more in-depth changes. But if you do want them, just email me at the marketing email and then let me know which native files you want and we can send those over to you. So we're gonna click download your Arizona Gives Toolkit now. I've already clicked that link, so I'm gonna cheat and I'm gonna click over to what that looks like. So this just asks you to fill out a basic form. The form really just sends me a notification so that I can see how many people are using the toolkit and downloading it. You just fill this out, click submit, and then it takes you to this page, which has hyperlinks to all the different kinds of things that exist in the toolkit. So I'm going to go over very quickly what these things actually are. So the digital display ads are different ads that that you can use for really anything, but they tend to be used for web advertising or Google advertising if you have the Google grant. Infographics are general graphics about Arizona Gives Day that says how much money has been raised, how many nonprofits are included, etc. Social media are sample social posts. We have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook posts, some that are customizable, some that are less customizable. We do have customizable print ads that are full page ads where you can add information into them for you, and you don't need to have Adobe products to do that. We can do that with the tool that I'll be showing you here shortly. We have full page print ads that are ready to go for you to be able to download if you want to give out flyers or things like that. This is also, they're kind of examples of what you could do with your customizable print ad. So those print ads are basically whole page ads. We do also have half and quarter page print ads that you can use. We do have dedicated tax credit print ads. And then for those of you who do tend to just use our logos to put those logos on things, and you use your own imagery and your own kind of text, etc., you can download those logos here. Do we have any questions about what the toolkit is?
Nothing so far.
Perfect. So I'm actually going to stop sharing. I'm going to change what my view is just so that I can share my my desktop in general so that you can see everything that I see. Let's go here. Okay, so
there was a question. Oh, there's a question about the materials. Is there imagery relating to food banks? If there's imagery that doesn't exist in the toolkit, where can we get those?
Yes, so I will talk about that. Good question. So I would go through and I suggest looking at the different files that exist. We, of course, cannot make images for every single organization, for every single mission type. We try, but we aren't always able to do that. So that's why we can provide those native files to you. And that's also why we do provide some customizable ads. But we do have varied imagery. We do also have these images that are general Arizona. So if you want to focus on that or use these, you can do that too. I believe in the infographics, there's a few that might apply to the food banks. So, you know, this could be a food bank and you could make some edits to this. I'm going to show you how to do that here in a minute. Is there any other questions?
Nope, that's it.
Perfect. Okay. So you can see everything that's in this folder is in the toolkit for you. So it's all broken down really clearly. The nice thing about the digital display ads is that the sizes are there for you. So these are the pixel sizes so that if you do want to make edits, I can show you how to enter the size correctly into the tool that we're going to use, and then be able to make edits easily. Um, with the infographics, they're broken down by Facebook and Instagram, so that's really easy for you to determine the size, and I'll show you how to do that. The print ads, so the customizable ads that are full page are 8.5 by 11. The half pages are going to be 5.5 by 4, and the quarter page are going to be half of that even. So the dimensions are quite easy for you to use. All right, so let's talk about what I recommend if you're a small organization that does not have access to the Adobe suite to be able to make in-depth changes to anything. So I actually recommend that you use a tool called Canva. And the nice thing about Canva is actually that it's free for nonprofits to use this. So there is the link canva.com/Canva for nonprofits. Karina and Maria are going to drop that into the chat. You can apply now. It's free for those nonprofits to use. You get different free images for those asking about the food bank images. They have a little bit of everything. They have some animated GIFs that I know that Maria uses sometimes on our social posts. This is the main thing that we use for a lot of our design because it's easy and there's free tools in there to use, like those free images, free banners, free animation, all of those things that make life much easier. And so we don't have to go hunting in multiple places to locate those or potentially have to pay for them. It's all included. So I do recommend this. Even if this is your main marketing campaign for the year, it'll just expand what you have available to you in your organization without you having to pay for anything. So we're going to go straight into how to do some things in Canva.
And we have another question, Angela. For the images, do they have to use the image with the logo, the First Bank logo, or can we just use the AZ Gives Day logo stuff?
Yeah, you can use any logo that is an Arizona Gives logo. So whatever works for your organization and what you're creating.
Angela, can I jump in real quick?
Yeah, of course.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jennifer Purcell with the Alliance and kind of oversee the Arizona Gives program. I just wanted to comment about the logos real quick. Obviously, a preferred use of the logo is using First Bank. We want to give credit to our promoting sponsor. Honestly, they've been our sponsor for 10 years now, and they provide a lot for that. So just think about your sponsors. If you have, large events and you want to make sure you give recognition to them, obviously, we know that the First Bank logo cannot work on every single image and graphic. It's too big to use on everything. And we understand that. So just be mindful of that, of how you use logos with sponsors in it, and the spacing constraints that you might have as well. So I just wanted to point out those two things. Thanks.
Thanks, Jen. Karina or Maria, do you have any other questions?
That is it for now.
Perfect. Okay. So I'm going to go over really quickly how to use some of Canva and what I would do if I were trying to build a campaign. And I'm going to start that by talking about some of the custom social posts. And I'm going to do one using a Facebook ad. And then the second one I'm going to do will be Instagram stories. The other social media posts that exist are similar to one or either of those. So that's why I'm going to focus on those. The nice thing about Canva that I will say is that it's really easy for you to pick the right size. So I'm going to hover over where it says templates. I want to create a Facebook post. So I'm going to click Facebook post. And I then have the option to create a blank Facebook post or pick from many of the different templates. But because I already have a Facebook post that I want to start with, I'm going to click create a blank Facebook post. And it's just going to come up with the right size for me. Now, the nice thing about Canva is that I also have the ability to drop in an image for the background. So I'm going to go into my Finder and I'm going to go to my social media images, and I want to pick one that's customizable for Facebook. So I'm just going to pick one at random, and I'm going to drag and drop it until I see this blue highlight over here. So you can see there's no blue highlight, and now there is. And then that'll kind of drop itself in, it'll upload. Now it will always be available for you if you want it. But if I right click on this, I can now set the image as the background. We can see for this, Canva uses a different size than what was created, because Facebook is constantly changing what the preferred size is, but that's okay. So I can detach this image from the background, and I can just make slight edits to it to make it fit the way I want. I can go in and I can make this bigger or smaller. I can also resize this. So this is clearly not right. Let's say we want to resize. The height is really what's wrong. So let's say this is 500. You can copy and resize, or I can just resize it and see what happens. That's going to be a little bit closer. This works for me. So that's what I'm going to work with, right? And you can play with this so it's a little bit more specific, but that's how I'm going to do it now. So this is now my background. I'm going to set image as background, which means now it won't really move on me, right? I've got the flexibility to put whatever I want in. But let's say maybe you don't want this dog photo, and this dog photo is actually really nice because there's a clear demarcation of where it ends here. So if you really wanted to, you could go into photos, and let's say you want a cactus photo because you work in, with the desert. I don't know. But I can click on this and I can drop it in, and I can just kind of add it to this area. Now you won't get the fade in there that does exist with that dog one, right? It fades a little bit to the right, but that still allows you to kind of update that image for you. And there is everything in here. So for those of you who asked about that food bank question, if you search food bank, here you go. There's a food bank image. Now, the great part is that if you right click, you can actually, oh wait, no, excuse me. If this image is highlighted, I could crop it so that I make it a little bit smaller. Maybe I just want this size. I can drag it around. I hit enter, and then I can fit it into the space if that's what works, right? So it gives you a little bit more flexibility than what you might have otherwise. So that's an acceptable use of this toolkit, because now you still have this text, you still have Arizona Gives, you still have your Arizona Gives approved nonprofit 2022 text. And then if I were you, I would go in and I would create some text. So you can see there's all sorts of like fun, different things. Maybe I want to have this in there, so I'm going to add it. And you can go in and you can actually change the colors. So if we scroll down where it says photo colors, we can pick colors from the background image that would be similar or match, or we could pick colors from the image that we dropped in, right? To make them match and be a little bit more cohesive. So I'm going to pick this dark blue because that matches that dark blue and Invest in Us. And I'm going to put a call to action that says, donate to the Alliance. I mean, we don't accept donations during AZ Gives, but this is just an example for everyone. We can change the size because that's much too big. And I'm going to move this down. And then I'm just going to add whatever link you want. So you all have your own link on Arizona Gives. Do people know that? Because if you don't, that's super powerful, where it's www.azgives.org, and you can put a backslash and put in whatever your link is. You could also put an abbreviated link in here. So it could be, you can use bit.ly, which would allow you to put a much shorter link that would allow people to type it out without having to type a million different letters and texts. So that's an option. When it comes to posts on Facebook, and most of you, I'm sure, already know, on any social media, really, we just want to make sure that the text isn't too heavy. Because if you do want to boost it and pay for that advertising, sometimes they block you if you have too much text. And people aren't reading a lot on social. They're seeing pretty photos and they're scrolling through. So you really want things that are just simple and nice and easy to use. Questions about this?
Nothing in the chat yet.
Perfect. Okay, so this is what I would do for a really basic social post. It could be donate, it could be support Arizona's environment, it could be support the animals in our shelter, it could be help provide food for a week by donating however much, right? But the shorter it is, the more clear it is of what you want people to do. So keep that in mind. All right, so now I'm going to move on from Facebook and those basic ones, and I'm going to talk a little bit about stories. So I'm going to go back to home, and I'm going to go to templates, and I'm going to pick Instagram stories, and I'm going to create a blank Instagram story. And I'm going to go in here and I'm going to find my story that I want to work with, which I believe is this one. Yes, it is. I'm going to drop that in. And I'm going to drag it to make it fit. And I'm going to zoom in for everyone because I know you might not be able to see because it might be small. Not that much. All right. So with stories, it's going to be a little bit different for something like this, right? You can put text in here, and yes, you can do this if you were to just drop this image into your Instagram stories from your phone. But if you want something a little bit more in depth, maybe you don't do that. Maybe you use Canva first, and maybe you make it a little bit more fun. So maybe it's what we do. Maybe it's that we want to drop an image in there that's fun. So let's do kids playing. So maybe that's what we do. We help kids play. So we want to drop in a little bit of an image in here that shows that, right? And maybe you add some text too about what your mission is, but you don't have to. Maybe you want your fundraising goal to be really fun and you want the text to be big. So we want to search text for maybe like something with money. So let's see if something comes up. Nope, that's a quote. So let's go out of that. But like maybe we want something super fun and super fancy, like, but we want to make sure that it's still readable. So that's always important. So let's do, maybe we do this wow, and we put that our goal, and we want it to be really big because we want people to know maybe our goal this year is $10,000. Right? And we want it to be big and bold so people can see it. And then your profile can be found at, so this is where you would drop in a link, so a URL, maybe you use the same text, maybe you want something a little bit different. But these again are things where you don't want to have a ton of text, right? You want it to be just enough for people to know what's going on. And you don't have to add this image. Maybe you want to do green, pink, and green. So maybe we help other nonprofits succeed, right? Or we provide them with trainings or things like that. So all of it's very easy to adjust. And then when you're ready, you just hit the download button. So let's see what this looks like if I zoom out. Right? It's kind of fun. These still pop out. We want people to know we want to hit that $10,000. And then we hit the download. And I always suggest downloading to PNG because that is a little bit better quality of an image. And then you just hit download, that'll download, and then you can upload pretty easily in your Insta stories. Okay, questions about social, because I'm going to move on from that.
Maybe give it a couple seconds if anyone has questions. They have time to type. Okay, nothing so far.
Perfect. Okay, so we're now going to get a little bit more complicated, but it's not really that complicated, I promise. And we're going to work with those digital display ads. So these are the display ads that are different sizes, and we can still add some things to them to make them more specific to ours. Now, to be clear, not all of them have images that you might want. And so if you still want to use these and you want those native files, this is when that would be helpful for you to be able to replace this background image with an image that would work best for your organization. But I'm going to use this 300 by 600 digital display, and I'm going to show you how to create a design with that would be a little bit more customized to what you might need. And it should be super fast and easy, especially if you are not changing that image. So this one that I'm using, it's a 300 by 600 pixel image. So I'm going to go into create a design, and I'm going to go to create a custom size, and I'm going to type in 300 by 600 and make sure that pixel is selected. And I'm going to create a new design. And this will make sure that this board that exists is now the exact size that I need it to be. So I'm going to go back into my files, and I'm going to drag and drop this digital design image into my design. And then I'm just going to make this set as my background image so it fits pretty perfectly in there. Okay, I'm going to zoom in so you can see a little bit better. Now, if I want to alter this so that it is a little bit more specific to my organization, but you want to run this ad because it works for you or what have you, then there are a few things that you can do. You can add your logo. So I already have the Alliance of Arizona Nonprofits logo on here. So I'm just going to take what's already in there, click it, add it to this image, and maybe I put it over here in this corner, right? Because now it's there, people know it's me. You could put it above, right? Whatever would work for you and your organization based on where it looks the best. I would probably try to make it match the size of the AZ gives if you could, or make it a little bit closer, etc. Now, what you can also do is if you want the call to action to be more specific to your organization, you can do that. And this is a secret thing that I have been doing for a very long time. I will take something that already exists and I will cover it up and I will find something that works for me. So I want to make this call to action fit exactly what I want it to say, right? So I'm going to go into elements, and I'm going to go in lines and shapes, and I'm going to find the square, and I'm going to click it, and it's going to show up here, and I'm going to drag it and drop it so that it's actually, and crop it so that it's actually the exact size of this call to action, and it covers it up. Right now I can't see that call to action, but this color is, it's not good. So let's change the color. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to go into the color. I'm going to scroll down again, like I said before, to where those photo colors are, and I'm going to pick what color works best for me from this image. But I want it to look consistent with other Arizona Gives Day images, so I'm going to pick this blue, right? It now literally looks almost exactly the same as what it did before, just without that text. I'm going to go into the text, and what I have found is when I click add a heading, it actually puts the text close enough to the Arizona Gives Day text that it will look good. So I'm going to click add a heading, and I'm going to type support us at, and then it would be azgives.org / whatever it is that you want it to be. I'm going to change the color. So again, if you go down to photo colors, the orange doesn't show up here, but the white does. And I think that the white looks really good over that blue. I'm going to change the size to make it smaller because I want it to fit on there. All right, now that's one line. And then I'm just going to drag this down, right? And now you have a brand new ad or image that would fit for your organization without doing that much work. That took me all of 2, maybe 3 minutes, and that's with the explanation of having to show how to do that. So this is a really easy way to make these a little bit more customizable for your organization. You could, if you don't want to have a call to action because you feel like this join us is already one, you could remove this and just put your direct link to your profile in here, because that would be an easy way for people to see it. You know, you could add a little bit of text if you want something different, etc. But the same thing goes, we want to make sure that our ads are kind of clean and easy, because that the less text, the more likely people will be to respond to this. Do people have questions about this?
Valerie asked if there are other formats you can use if you don't have Canva. She said it's something we don't have in our budget, but like Angela mentioned, Canva for nonprofits is free. So that's something that you can test out yourself, and it doesn't require any payment.
Correct. And if you don't want to go through the process of getting approved as a nonprofit, you can also sign up as an individual for a free account. You don't get as much with that, but you can still do the majority of the things that I'm showing you how to do today, with the exception that there might not be as many images that are available to you at no cost.
Yes, and that answered that. Nothing else yet.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to wait 1 more minute just in case. Okay, no more questions. So we're going to jump into what I would do with page ads. So first, my caveat is that some of these print ads are not in JPEG, and you might want to make some edits the way that we're making to the display ads, the way we're making them to the social ads. And if that's the case, all you need to do is open them up in whatever format. Usually Adobe Acrobat has this, and Adobe Acrobat is actually quite affordable for nonprofits to get through TechSoup. But let's say I want to work with this customizable full page ad, and it only comes in a PDF. So let's open this, right? I want to make this so that I can drop it into Canva, because Canva will only make edits to a JPEG. It won't make edits to a PDF. So what do? You go to File, you go to Export to, and you click Image and then JPEG. That'll ask you to save, and then you can go back and you will now be able to use this as a JPEG in Canva to make edits. Okay. So for that, we're going to go back to home. I'm just going to create a custom design because that's a little bit faster. I'm going to change this to inches because I know a full page is an 8.5 by 11 inch design. So I'm going to hit create new design. And then I'm going to drop this customizable full page in. And I'm going to set as my background image so it's the right size. So the nice thing about this is that there's very little text in here for you to need to make your own edits. All you really need to do is go in and drop in information. So you can drop in your Facebook, you can drop in your Instagram, you can drop in your Twitter. If you don't have all of these, to be honest, you can do the same thing that I did before, where I take this square, I drop it in, I make it the right size. I then change the color to the blue from this photo. And now that Twitter icon is gone. So you could type in whatever you wanted on this side, right? So that helps you kind of make a little bit more adjustments to this if you want to do that thing. I'm going to delete that. Otherwise, you can just select your text. You can add a subheading. You can do whatever you want. Here's my Facebook. I'm going to change this color to the white, and I'm going to drag it down, right? It'll kind of snap in place if you want it to. There we go. I want to make it a little bit smaller. Great. There it is. There's my Facebook link, right? So now that's in there. So I can do that for Instagram. I can do that for Twitter as well. The nice thing about using this is that you can also go in. Let's say you want to add 2 different images in here. Okay, so let's add this image. Great. I'm going to put this one here. Let's add this image. Fabulous. I'm going to put this one here. You can still go in and you can still upload your logo. Let's see if I have a color logo. I don't. I have lots of other people's color logos. So I'm just going to pick someone's color logo. So Spotlight Youth Theater, you are being used today as an example. So maybe I'm going to put the logo here, and then I'm going to add a bunch of text, right? And I'm going to say, we're going to go here. We're going to make this the size. We're going to say something about my organization. So we're going to say, you know, we are fundraising $10,000 on AZ Gives Day, right? And all of these things just you can keep moving around and adjusting until you get them the way that you want them to be. So maybe you want this one a little bit smaller. Let's make it 20. And then maybe we want it kind of down like this. That's fun. Let's change this color. Maybe we want it to be more of the orange. And then maybe we want to add a little bit more body text that says, our organization does this great thing. You should support us because we are fabulous and need help. Forgive my typos. This is what happens. There we go, ish. You can still adjust. We can put the height. Maybe we want this to be 16. Let's make this like this. You know, we've got all these options. Same thing, you want to make sure you have your direct link in there to AZ Gives Day. But you also want to give a little bit more context, right? Because you've got more space here about why organizations or why these people who are giving on this day should support your organization over others, right? Maybe you do something very specific or very special. We all nonprofits here do. So we want to kind of focus on those things. And how can we then, what happens if you raise $10,000? What would your organization do with that? If you have already secured a matching grant, maybe you say, well, we're fundraising $10,000 because we have someone who's going to give us another $10,000 if we meet that. And so this is why you should give. Maybe you want to focus on a power hour when we announce what those are. And so you're asking people to focus their donations on that one time of day, because that is what you want to do, because you want to be more eligible to win a cash prize. So it's really, in these full page ads, what do you want people to do? Why should they do it? Why should they give to you? Pick those compelling images that make people feel something. This is the time to do it. And that's kind of what I would do with a full page ad. Again, if you have the capacity to do it and you can get the native files, then instead of just adding the images down here, you can also update this top image to make an even more powerful statement to what your mission is and what your organization does. Do we have questions about that?
Nothing so far.
Okay, I'm gonna wait a minute, but I am gonna stop share so I can see your beautiful faces and we can talk a little bit, because I saw that there is a lot of chat happening. So Emma, I see your question. When will we know when the power hours and other award activities will be taking place? So Jen, I know we're meeting about that this week. Can you give us a little bit more information?
Yeah, so actually on Saturday, I got word from one of the inquiries that we had out that they had, they were in for the prize pool. So we've had one meeting this morning and we'll have another one on Wednesday to go through the prize pools, and hopefully by the beginning of next week, we'll have the prize pool kind of figured out and up on the website.
Perfect. So that's coming. So that's very exciting. Any other questions about design in particular? Like if you are a small organization, don't have Adobe products, what you can do to help your organization with the tools that already exist in an easy way. Any Canva questions? All right. If you think of any while I continue talking, feel free to put them in the chat and I will pause. So we have 12 minutes left, and I want to talk very quickly about strategy. Lauren, you have a landing page question. So please put that in the chat and Karina and Maria can try to help you figure out that landing page question. So strategy. I can tell you, because I have gone through many nonprofits who have participated in Arizona Gives over time and looked at what their campaigns have looked at. I also have run my own Arizona Gives campaigns when I have worked for other organizations. And what I will say is, the more lead up you can do in advance of the day, the more successful your organization is going to be. So if you're talking about strategy of what to do, I suggest emails, which, to be honest, you can use that full page ad as a template for your emails if you want to do that thing, if you're using a MailChimp, if you're using a Constant Contact, etc. To be honest, you can also do it in Outlook. It's a little bit more complicated, but it's still possible. You can do it in almost any email platform. So what I would say is you need to have at least 2 emails in your campaign. So you need an email letting people know at minimum a week, if not 2 weeks in advance, that Arizona Gives is coming up. You are asking them for their support. This is why that support is important. This is why you need that money. This is your goal. Here's the link to the page. You can donate now, or you can wait for the day. I then suggest doing an email on the day of because you still want to make sure that you're reminding people that they can do recurring donations, that they can email, that they can give on the day, even if they've already given, they can give, any time during that period. So
Okay.
I highly suggest that. Yes.
So Emma had a question. She thinks it might be easier if she unmutes to ask. So Emma,
I'm going to ask her to not do that. I'm going to ask her to put that in the chat just because we have limited time today.
Yeah, and then if there's clarification, we'll ask you. Also, Sophia asks, is there any tips or tricks for getting supporters to send in their photos so that you can share their profile and why they're supporting their organization leading up to Gives Day?
So I'm assuming your supporters mean people who are somehow affiliated with your organization. So we find that that's difficult, right? So I would say any way that you can get in touch with them to give you those photos, just keep asking. And I would say you need to ask now, right? Don't wait. The sooner you ask, the more likely you're going to get something, and you need to keep asking. I would also say if you have phone numbers of those supporters, it might be worthwhile sending texts, because the majority of those people who have photos it's most likely going to be on their phone, and that's an easier way for them to respond to you than to have to go through their email to then get to their phone to then send it to you. So that might be, to be honest, the best route.
The next question, I believe, is from Lauren. It's more about the AZ Gives platform. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Let's see here. Is it best to use only one area for gathering donations, or if we are offering what $10 accomplishes or $25 accomplish, do we need to have a different button in that area? What's the best trick to handle matching gifts?
So Jen, yep.
Yeah, so all donations for Arizona Gives, all requests for donations should be sent to your Arizona Gives landing page. That's actually part of what everyone signed in their terms of service. And part of that is to help us cut down or prevent any fraud that might occur, and people know that your organization has been vetted and that donor is giving on a secure platform. So that's number one. The second part of your question about the $10 accomplishes X or 25 accomplishes the other, those are all what we call donation designations, and you can add as many as you would like to the checkout portion of your page. So when you go into your public profile and you click edit, you're going to see some options for donation. I'm sorry, not edit. I take that back. When you go to my public profile, there will be a tab on the far left for donation designations and under programs. So when you go to programs, you can select whether you want those programs to be listed as well or not show up as designations. You can also select dollar amounts if you want $10, $25, $50. Those are all different options under my public profile that you can select. So there's different ways that you can accomplish those things through descriptions and programs or others. So.
Yep. And I will say, Lauren, I do recommend creating those because that does make it really easy for people to figure out how they're going to support you. So you're basically, by doing that, making an ask of, hey, support this program for this amount. But I would say be careful about that, because sometimes if you pick a button that's too low, you're going to get the majority of people just giving $5. So you might want to kind of figure out what is your goal? Like, is it that you want to increase how many donors you have at the $50 level? Then maybe that's your minimum. Or if you want to increase at the $25, etc. So I also see what's the best way to handle matching gifts. So to handle matching gifts, if you're receiving them, if you want it to count towards towards a prize pool, it has to be received through the AZ Gives platform. But you can also state in your profile that you have a matching gift and not direct it through that platform, but it doesn't count towards those towards those prize pools. So it's really up to you how you handle that. But I do suggest announcing to people that you have a matching gift if you do have one, and announcing it early so that you can kind of build up that anticipation and excitement. That's really what a giving day like this is about, is everyone building up that anticipation, building up that excitement, seeing the numbers increasing over the day, and getting people to participate in this mass movement. So that's kind of what I recommend. Dawn, I see that you are asking, is there best practice or recommendation for how long your profile should be? I would say really look at your profile and decide, if you were, put yourself in the shoes of your donor. If you were a donor, what is the information that you want really fast and easy, and put that up at the top. And then for people who might want more information, then you kind of, you can keep all of that info, but you might want to have things that are more pressing, or if a person doesn't have a ton of time and they just want to see, put that at the top, right? Put that in a place where it's easy to digest, it's easy to get to, and then maybe you put more detailed information below. I will say, if you have a story, your story is always going to be more impactful than any data point. So if you have a story about a client that you helped, about an animal that you assisted, about an environmental habitat that you helped save, those stories are what pulls at the heartstrings of the donors and make them want to support you. Okay, yes, Annette, I'm getting back to strategy. So 2 emails. First email, tell people about it. Second email is the day of and remind people, hey, it's urgent. We need your help. Our nonprofit has suffered because of COVID. We know you don't want to hear about it, but this is what you need to know. Add your story, tell impactful things, add data. I would say those donor emails, you want them to be maximum 3 to 5 paragraphs. Make sure they're super concise. Make sure you have your call to action. Ask them, right? If you can segment and you can do a few different versions, then ask them to give a specific dollar amount if you can. So if you have people who donated before and you want to target them and they've all donated under $25, maybe you want them to donate $25 exactly this year. Let's get them up, right? Or maybe you want to convert them to $5 or $10 per month. Then you're going to change those call to actions. But you can do just one mass email to your whole audience that says, hey, we need your help on this day. Please donate. Do it at least a week, if not more often before, and then also do the day of. If you have time, you want to do a third after the day that tells people how much you raised, thanking them and telling them that, oh, wait, if you missed your opportunity, you think it's over? No, there's still time to donate, because that AZ Gives platform is open all year round. And so you want them to continue to think about you. So you want to hit them before, after, and if you have time, best practice says, or excuse me, before, during, and then best practices after as well. So emails, yes. Okay. So that's what I suggest. Also, same thing with social media. You want to have anticipation and excitement building up. So you can't just be posting the day of. You need to be posting now, right? So I suggest, if you can, schedule some posts. Facebook, Instagram, they both allow you to do that. And the majority of people who participate in AZ Gives, those are the platforms that you already have associated with. So you want to post at least once a week telling them AZ Gives is coming. Are you going to support us? Let us know. And then as we get closer, you might want to amp that up. You might want to do 2 or 3 times a week. And the day of, maybe you want to do 5 different posts that day that said, don't forget, you can still donate. If you want to hit a power hour, hey, today's our power hour. Please, this is our power hour. Please donate during this time. We want to win some cash, a cash prize. End of the day. Thank you so much to those who've donated to us. We really appreciate it. Next day, hey, we love it that you participated. If you missed it, don't worry, you can still donate. So you just want to keep this constant communication going. You want to amp people up. You want it to be exciting. You want to tell your stories as much as possible. You want to make sure that people want to be engaged with you. So if you have great photos, now's the time to be posting them. Now's the time to tell them that they can donate. And this is what they need to do that thing. Okay, so technically I am out of time. But what I will say is, the 201 is on Wednesday. We're going to be diving more into strategy, right? We'll do less of those basics of how to do design. So Karina's dropping the link to that in the chat. Thank you, Karina. We do have the survey, which is very important for two reasons. One, I need to know how well I've done, and our funders need to know how well I've done. And second, if you take that survey within the next week, you are eligible to win a $25 credit towards a future Alliance training that you can take at any time throughout the rest of the year. So we suggest doing all of that. That being said, we are out of time, but I can stay on for another 5 minutes if anyone wants to stay on, and I can run through a few more questions because I did see some others pop up. So if you need to go, I respect that. Feel free, but I am going to just hop through some of these questions really quickly. Okay, so how do we get a pledge ahead of time starting March 15th? Will Neon keep track? Does it automatically convert towards the goal? So you don't have to get a pledge. People can actually just donate at this time. And then Jen, can you answer that question? Does that automatically convert towards the goal, or is the goal only what's donated on the day of?
All right, I guess I think I need to know which goal. So they have an opportunity to put their own goal.
Yes.
Written in there.
Yes.
You can also adjust that goal during the day if you need to. And it starts showing early giving through the 6th, the end of Arizona Gives Day.
Perfect. And early giving starts March 15th, correct?
March 15th, yep. So your goal is going to show. Now, if you've left that field blank, nothing is going to show for a goal. I always recommend, at a minimum, every single organization should at least be shooting to get $500 on the system during that time, because that's how you get your registration refund back. So minimum $500 raised in that 3-week time period. So that would be my recommendation. At least start with 500 and go up from there.
Yep, great. And then, yeah, so you don't need to get pledges. They can literally start donating at that time. And yes, Neon One will track your progress towards that goal. Deb, where do you find more information on the design part of that? So that's a really great question. Canva has a lot of really great resources, so you can go on there. I don't think we have any trainings right now on any design specific things. But there's always YouTube videos are really amazing. So I recommend that. Everyone who's saying thank you, you're very welcome. I'm happy you like the toolkit this year. Let's see. So I don't see any other questions. Are there other questions that you have? I can stay on for another 2 minutes. It's going once. Going twice. All right, I'm going to stop the recording, but I'm going to stay on.